This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today it's all about Hollywood. We're there, sometimes we'll be a director and we will be trying to pick some talent for our movie. Other times we're going to be agencies representing some of the talent in hopes that the director will pick our player. Now, this game is called Casting. It is a party game from Blue Cocker Games, same people that brought us Medieval Academy a couple years ago. It is from 4 to 8 players, takes 20 to 40 minutes. It is a traditional style party game. Let's take a look. I'll show you how it's played. I'll see you on the other side. At the beginning of casting, you get to pick your player age shield, which will act as a guide for you in the back, and you get to pick your color and agency name, Sweet Fox, Fatal Rabbit, and so on and so forth. Great artwork and fun colors. So here we have the game set up here. Now remember, I picked Sweet Fox here. I am orange, and this is my sort of agency. And I am the agent of one of these people. I'm trying to get the director to pick my person. So what happens is each player in the game is going to grab one of these casting. Now one of these has a letter that's up here. So in this case, if I pulled this, this would be my person, and they're all women in the first round, where if I pulled this, this would be my person. So we would randomize them up, and I would take this and I would put it behind my player shield. Now the director would look at this, flip up the top one, and he would choose one of these 3 questions to ask everybody, which is, what is her best quality? Or, what does she hate? Or, what is her favorite TV show? Now everyone knows who they are because this is flipped over, and let's say I would be T in this case. And let's say the director said, what does she hate? What does she hate? Now everybody has a little book here that comes and a pencil. So I would write down, what does she hate? And I would write it down there. And I'm gonna write, good guys. And I would take this off, I'd rip it off. Now these are double-sided, by the way. And I would pass it to the director. Now also an important note to make is when people are making their thing, this was Coke bottles for this woman here, I couldn't say, anything specifically about the physical description. So I couldn't say anything about red glasses or black hair or necklace or red shirt. I can't say anything, but Coke bottles is sort of a creative way to refer about glasses. Maybe she was afraid to see the optometrist. Now that's kind of in a gray area where, yeah, it's kind of creative. You're not specifically saying because of her glasses, you're saying because of the optometrist. So there's definitely some gray areas there, but you can't say anything that's physically just right about what's on the tile. Now, as the director has passed things, he's going to read them out loud so everybody can hear, and this is happening simultaneously. So some people might still be writing stuff down while he's reading to hear other people. And he yells out, hey, good guys, disease, dentists, ventriloquist dolls, crowds, Coke bottles, critics. And as he's getting these, he's trying to figure this out where to go. So maybe he puts this one here. 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 And he puts this one here. Puts this one here. And he puts this one here. And when he's done, he asks everybody to vote. How many does he think he has right? He'll go through and read them. Dentists, critics, ventriloquist dolls, good guys, Coke bottles, crowds, disease. At this point, everybody is going to now guess by putting a token. Now on the back of these tokens are labeled 0 through 7 as to how many people think they're going to get right. So everyone would be putting their token, they'd be betting, and they'd be saying how many they think they're going to get right. Once everybody has placed their token, everyone is then going to take their casting token here, and they're going to play it right where they were. So they might say this, and everybody would put their tokens out. So after everyone's do it, they put it right on their sheet. So for example, we know that, oh, this one's correct. She hates dentists because look at those big teeth. She probably had a lot of work done on them. This player, nope. This player actually had this one. This one hated critics because she's so prim and proper. Maybe she was always critiqued or something like that. This one Correct. This person hated ventriloquist dolls because, well, she looks like one and she was made fun of her whole life. This lady has a skull and crossbones on her cheek, and she hates the good guys because she's on the bad team, so this was correct. This one, nope, this one was essentially Coke bottles was A, because her glasses are very thick and they look like Coke bottle glasses, and she was made fun of as a kid. This guy's really large, so he hates being near crowds, and this lady does hate disease because let's just say that she's sick right now. And so 5 of these were correct. Now, in addition, so now that we know that 5 of these guys were correct, each agent that had theirs picked correctly would get 2 million. So every one of these 5 correct ones would get 2 million, and the director for everyone right would get 1 million. So the director's going to end up getting 5 million this round, and everyone who was picked correctly will get 2 million. Then we see who was correct. So everybody had their token out there. We flip them over. Ooh. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, blue and orange both guessed that they would get 5 of them correctly, so they get something special. Now on the back of their player aid, it shows, depending on how many players there actually are in the game, they'd get 3, 2, or 1 more million for guessing correctly. That would be the end of the round. We would take these again, we would randomize them face down, we'd shuffle them up, everyone get their points, they'd get these back, everyone would they'd flip these over and take them back so they could use them again. Now, these would just simply flip over to the male side. Now, there's a total of 48 of these tiles, so there's close to 100 different people between male and female. And so now this time, everyone is going to be a male, and the director is just the player to the left of the director from the round before. And so here's what some of the people might look like for the males. The director would then do it again. The game is played for as many of these rounds as however many players there are, and whoever has the most millions at the end wins. And let me just show you some of the other questions that might be in here. What is this person thinking about? How old are they? What should they do if they had 24 hours to live? Who's his best friend? What's he ashamed of? What's his daily pleasure? What's his main character trait? What do they forget all the time? What is their favorite newspaper or magazine? What's their hometown? What's their favorite movie? What's his dream? So those are just a selection of what some of these questions look like. All right, there's casting. Now, traditionally, I like party games a lot. Even traditional style ones, I tend to like. My family likes them, and so I play a lot of them. This one was really interesting. I like the theme. I like the artwork in it. I like the idea of trying to pick and choose, drawing. I like the idea of putting all the faces out and trying to kind of guess what who people are. I like all of that in theory. The game had some nice artwork. I like the player shields, the colors, all that stuff's really nice. I did have some trouble with some of the mechanisms in the game itself, which unfortunately made our overall experience not as enjoyable as I wished it were with this game. I had very high hopes. My expectations were pretty high for this one too, just because of the way it was, and the publisher's got some good things they've done in the past. There's a few issues I had with the game. A few minor things, quibbles that could have been improved, I think, in the game. When you're dealing with a game of specific how people look, and you're really trying to come off the cuff with creative things to write about questions that have to do with these people, when you have 8 people sitting around a table, you have these tiny little tiles, and it makes it really hard for people to really see their character and look around and pick out some details in their faces and such, because all you really have the faces, you don't have the bodies. Now, something similar was used in a game that came out this year called Unusual Suspects, where you're also trying to get people to guess things about the characters, but those were cards. And the cards were bigger, and they had a lot more detail in the face. Some of them had a little bit of the body, and it made it a little easier to do that. I wish they had done that here. I wish those little tiles were just cards, bigger, and with some more detail. The artwork's great, it's just 8 people around a table is just too hard. Everyone's hitting heads trying to look. So a little bit of physical problems there with just the way that the game works. I do like the artwork in the game. I like how the tiles flip over to men to women. All that stuff works really well. I just wish it was bigger and more detailed because it would help you with the next aspect, which was my biggest problem with the game. And I talked to the publisher quite a bit about this actually because we had some back and forth as I was having trouble with the game. And the problem is this. You specifically cannot say anything that specifically directly talks about a physical feature of the character. For example, as I mentioned in the overview, you can't say because of their red glasses. Or one example is we had a guy with a checkered shirt on, and you say, well, what's his, you can't say because of his checkered shirt or something like that. But there's a lot of, the key of this game, and to try to play it well, is really to find that gray area. that's not directly interacting with what they have, but not necessarily off in left field either. Case in point, we had one of the questions, which was, what's this guy's favorite music artist? And I had one of the characters that had a checkered shirt, and he had glasses, and I said Chubby Checker. For what the publisher says, that's perfect. That's what you're going for. You're trying to creatively, get them to guess it, but not being like, can't just say his checkered shirt, right? Chubby Checker. Some of the other ones you saw, the Coke bottle glasses, things like that. The problem we had is that it was really hard to draw that line in the gray area, because if we went too close to the edge of that gray area, it became too obvious on many cases. And if you didn't do that, then it was too hard. So you really have to lay in that gray area, which tends to be a little bit hard and hard for people to grasp, because many times people would just be too descriptive of what was there. Sometimes it was hard. One of the ladies had like a little bit of blue tint on her teeth, and I don't know what that was about. But someone said, blue lollipop was her favorite food, and is that breaking the rules? Well, kinda, but not really. So we had a lot of these kinda, but not really, is it breaking the rule type of things. And anytime that they were the kinda, it was too easy. And anytime it wasn't, it tended to be just too hard. So unfortunately, it just wasn't that enjoyable. Also, it was really hard to read everybody's writing. So you put all their things up there, and someone's going through, and they're trying to read it all and see how many do you think we got right. And there was a lot of bit of that too, but that's sort of a minor quibble. But overall, I wanted to love this game, but sort of the weirdness of trying to not be too descriptive, but not be undescriptive at the same time leaves you in this weird area that's hard to target, I think, for this game. So unfortunately, I didn't like it as much as I wanted to, but you guys might find an easier way or a more house rules way to play this game that's more enjoyable, because the theme's fun, and the idea's fun, and the concept's great, and the artwork's great. It just didn't work for us, and that's casting.
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com.